Hi guys, back to this project where I'm trying to make batteries, homemade batteries from various items. Looking through Lidmotor's old videos, back in 2012 he made a rechargeable battery using stainless steel and Epsom salts. Well, I got some stainless steel scourers there. Cheap ones from Poundland, so there's a good chance they're not really stainless steel, but we'll try them. I've also got some Epsom salts, and these are the sort you put in the bath to make it smell nice, so they're going to have impurities in them. I think Lidmotor used the pharmaceutical version, the sort of thing you put in your well, I'll say cup of tea, not the bath time ones. Anyway, I'm going to try some of these. What I'm going to do is I've cleaned out this sauce bottle. I'll put some warm water in there and dissolve Epsom salts in there as much as I can. Keep shaking it and try and dissolve them in there to make us a solution. I've cut the bottom off of a milk bottle or jug or carton or whatever you want to call it. So that'll be my battery container. So we'll put a couple of these in, one either side, put the liquid in, check that there's no current flowing first, and then we'll charge them by just connecting it to a battery for a while, and then we'll see if we get any current or any voltage out of it. If we get enough, then we'll try and get one of my solar rockers to run off it. What Lidmotor does, he has some of his very low energy flashing LED things that he uses just to demonstrate that it's got power. The solar rocker will probably need more power than that, so it may not work, but we'll have a go anyway. Yeah, the circuit that Lidmotor uses is probably one of those jewel thief type things where you actually get an LED lighting from very low power. Anyway, that's what I'm going to do. Mix up some Epsom salts, try and make a saturated solution, chuck it in there, a couple of them in as the anode and cathode, and we'll see how we go. I've mixed the Epsom salts, the bath time Epsom salts, with hot water, put as much in there as I could until it stopped dissolving. So that's our electrolyte, I suppose. We need a couple of these. Just to say, there's a good chance these aren't really stainless steel. Looks like they're linked together somehow as well. Don't want that. Get some scissors. Or cutters anyway. I suppose that might be useful. We do put a black one on there. At the moment the colours are going to be insignificant because it depends on which way round we charge it as to which way round the positive and negative are, because they're the same material for both the cathode and the anode. There's no automatic positive and negative. Let's just move him out the way a minute. Okay, so before we put anything in, meter, can you see that? I think we can. So we go positive, negative to negative, positive to positive. At the moment we're on the 20 volt scale and we've got nothing. So we'll add the so thought if I did it this way it would strain it, but that's going to take far too long to go in. Because this is one of those bottles that's got a little sieve at the top. But we'll abandon that idea. We'll just pour it. You can see there's lots of crystals around there. Right, so we've got no voltage showing at all at the moment. It'd be handy if they actually went right in the water. There was a comment on his video that once you've passed current through here, the chemical that you end up with is rather unpleasant. So it might be worthwhile not doing this with your hands once you've started mixing it with water, mixing it with current. I'll just go and read the label again. So we've got steel, which is, well, basically iron with other stuff in it. And the Epsom salts are magnesium sulfate with added fragrance, which is probably going to cause a problem. Anyway, at the moment we've got no voltage. So what I'm going to do is charge it. Which way should we do this? If we just disconnect for a minute. I'm aiming to give it 6 volts. That's what Lidmotor did. So if I go there, yeah, that's 6 volts. So if I connect that lead up to the new battery lead, that should now be putting 6 volts into there. And at the moment, that's our red wire and that's our black wire, so positive, negative going in. I've left it for about 5 minutes, 6 minutes, not for very long. We might get a problem here because I can see now this is cooling down. There's actually crystals forming. And I don't think that's anything to do with electrical action. I think that's just the crystals, the Epsom salts are crystallizing out as the water cools down. Anyway, if we disconnect the battery and connect the meter, are we ready? Nothing. Nothing on the 2 volt. I would say nothing, really. Well, that's disappointing. I was hoping we might get something. Lidmotor made his much smaller than this, so that might be a problem, that I've got too big a gap between the two, well, the anode and the cathode. Or we might need to put a bit more voltage in there because it's such a big area. So we'll disconnect the meter again. I'll just check the meter's working. Yeah, so that's about 6 volts going in. So if we move that a bit, let's just measure. What have I done? Ah, I remember this battery box is wired up in an odd way. Six volts, 7. Reaching across, sorry. Right, 10 volts. So stick that into there. It's dropping away quite rapidly. Okay, we'll leave it for a bit longer this time. But I'm now putting about 10 volts into it. Or at least that's what we're getting out of there. We'll come back in a minute. I've just rearranged the wiring a little bit so it's a bit more robust, so it doesn't keep falling off. So we're now using the proper output from my battery pack via that connector there. So we're now measuring 7.7 volts going in. And if I switch it off, we've briefly got about 2 volts, dropping away quite rapidly. 1.5 volts, yeah, going down. Put the power back on again. I suppose if I disconnect that battery lead it'll be more convincing. Yeah, got about 1.5 volts. It is dropping away rapidly, but we have clearly got some power in there. So I'll put a bit more charge into it and I'll go and get one of my solar rockers. They're just there for now. Sunlight. Yeah. Okay, so she is at least working. Let's disconnect the battery again. Can I do this without getting my hands in the way? So that's the power supply there, disconnected. So what we will want to do is we'll want to have her. That's going to be a bit awkward. Oh no, I'll just turn around the other way. But we don't want her rocking until I connect her up. Hang on, let's see if we can do this with an extra lead. Don't like having too many leads involved. Right, so if I put that on there, she should be getting 1.5 volts. Yeah. So that battery is disconnected. She is now running off here. I suspect I can demonstrate that. If I disconnect that, she should stop. Slowing down. Connect up again. There we go. So we've created a rechargeable battery. I suppose I'll take the meter out of circuit just so it's not any feedback from the meter. She's slowing down, isn't she? But we may have actually discharged the battery. Dropped about 1.5 volts according to that. Kick. Yeah, I think we've discharged. Not enough current there to drive it. So disconnect her again. Reconnect the battery. Oh, if we do it this way. What's going on? I would have expected to see a bit more voltage there. Yeah, why aren't we getting... Getting nothing out of the battery now. Out of that battery. One of these leads isn't making connection. Oh, how annoying. Something's not right. I've just put a 3.4 volt battery in there. 3.7 volt battery. We should be getting 3.7 volts. Okay, connect that one onto there, connect that one onto there. Alright, so what was going on? One of these leads has gone, hasn't it? Oh, I hate it when it does that. It's so embarrassing right in front of the camera. Bit of a break in continuity here, guys. I just demonstrated it all working, and then one of my jumper leads here failed, and I was getting 0 voltage reading from everything. I couldn't get anything right. So we're going to have to restart a bit here. I've swapped to a small LiPo battery, so we're getting 8.3 volts out of it. That's fairly fresh. So if I just reconnect to there, put that one on there. Oh, before we do that, we ought to measure the output from here. Now, we might have some residual voltage in here where it's charged up. In the previous video, or the previous bit that I'm now going to abandon. So I've just disconnected the battery, connect up the positive to the recharged battery here that we just created. We got about 1 volt. Right. So the battery is not in circuit. That battery is not in circuit. We're using this one, and at the moment we got about 1 volt from it. If I put my little solar rocker in there, I don't think that 1 volt will be enough to get her going. Oh, it's a bit of a reach. This is where it went wrong before, because one of these leads I was using didn't work. Right, okay, she's running, or she did, off the bit of voltage that we'd put in there. So we have created a rechargeable battery because we've charged it. We're now discharging it through the solar wobbler, but we'll disconnect her again with that lead. So the little capacitor in there has to die down, so she's now disconnected. If I connect the battery to the battery, that's the LiPo battery is now charging the rechargeable battery. So we've got about 8 volts going in there at the moment. We have got the Epsom salts is actually crystallizing out here. I don't know whether I needed to heat the water and dissolve as much as I did, but yeah, that's crystallizing out. I don't think it's particularly a product of the electrical current being passed through it. I think it's just crystallizing out as it's cooling down. Well, we've given that a few seconds, so we'll disconnect that, dropped away to about 2 volts. Connect up our solar rocker again, and away she goes. So we have created a rechargeable battery using steel wool, or whatever they called them, stainless steel scourers, and Epsom salts containing magnesium sulfate crystals with added fragrance. I will say this smells a bit better than the battery, potato battery I made the other day, because the potato went rotten and that was pretty awful to smell. So yeah, she's running now. I'll actually leave her running, see how long she runs for. It's 5:15, Wednesday the 23rd of October. So I'll just leave that. Whether I ought to disconnect the battery, disconnect the meter just in case that's feeding anything into it. No, that's still going. I don't expect it to go for long, but well, we'll just leave it, see what happens. In fact, being as she's quite happy, I can put the meter back in again. Oh, I've just knocked her. She's recovered anyway. Take that right out of circuit. So battery's no longer there. That is dropping away, isn't it? Yep, I'll just leave that, see how long it lasts for. Just going to adjust the camera a little bit. success.
He's shocked.
Yeah,
I can tell that.
confused. It worked.
Well, he keeps on.
Okay,
So I'm shutting doors to keep things warm.
fine. Just in case you're still watching, about 10 minutes into this part of the session, I will put a link in the video description to Lidmotor's video so you can watch it. He used a solar panel to recharge his battery during daylight hours so that it just runs continuously. I think he said his had been running for about 2 or 3 years or something. I can't remember now. But that's the theory. You charge it up with your solar panel during the day, and then obviously it discharges during darkness and then recharges during the day and just keeps going. But he wasn't running a solar rock off it. He was running a blocking oscillator, just a little LED light. Still going. It's about 20 odd minutes. Just getting on with some other things while we're still filming this. I think I'll stop filming. The camera died anyway. I think we've been going for about an hour now. I've dropped to about 0.9 of a volt. So what I'll do is I'll come back out here later tonight and see when she finally stops. I've just been upstairs trying to find one of my solar panels. Somewhere around I've got a reasonable sized one which we could have used to charge her up during the daytime. I'll have to go on eBay and order one, I think. Because none of the ones I've got laying around here are going to be quite powerful enough. You can probably hear it's raining now. It's about 8:30 at night and she has finally run the battery down. She's just twitching a tiny bit. We're down to 0.6 of a volt. She starts rocking well at about 0.7, so 0.6 she's only twitching. But that looks like we've run for about 3 hours on that battery, so I should be able to recharge it. I'm just looking in there and yeah, quite a bit of it's crystallized, but I don't think that's anything to do with the current flowing through it. I think it's just because I made a super saturated solution and it's crystallizing out. So yeah, it worked. What I will do now is just an extra bit of video about this lead, because if you've watched the full length video you'll know that I got it all working and then it stopped working, or at least the meter stopped working, and it was this lead playing up. So I'll just demonstrate what the problem was. Right, I think we can see the meter. This is the lead that was playing up and it looks okay, but if I just wobble it here, it's a crimp connection, it's not soldered. And clearly it's loose, so what I will do is I will solder it just there. And we should be okay for future use. That was really annoying because I got it all set up and it was working and I'm chatting away and then it stopped working and it was just that lead was playing up. Very annoying. Well, it's about 3:15 on Thursday the 24th. I gave the battery a boost last night before I went to bed, so that was about midnight, 1 o'clock, something like that. Only a short boost, and she's been running ever since. It went up to about 2 volts when I boosted it. It's down to 0.6 of a volt now, which is enough to keep her just going. She's just getting to the point where she's going to do that stop and jerk instead of the regular rock. But this stuff seems to be getting better each time I recharge it, which is interesting. I don't know if you can actually see, but there are lots of crystals in the bottom of there, which, as I said several times, is, I think, because I made it a super saturated solution and it's now crystallizing out, I don't think it's anything to do with the charge flowing through it. I think that'll do. I know Lidmotor's been running his for years. I'm not really planning to do that, but if I can find a suitable solar panel, I will see if I can run it on a solar panel to keep it charged up during the day. Thanks for watching. If you like that, then you might like this. And if you like this and that, you might like to subscribe over there.